afternoon. This is Open Line. We hope everyone is having a beautiful Tuesday. We are talking the appropriate age to get married in our country. What is that all about? Is there an appropriate one? We'll be getting from the legal end, from the social perspective, also in terms of what the norms have been when it comes to the age at which most people get married in our country. Marriage is definitely the union of two people, male and female, getting together and just trying to see how they can live as a unit. But is there a certain age or period where this is appropriate, and what is that one? As usual, like our title says, Open Line, we'll be opening the lines to you, our viewers, to make sure that you contribute, you ask your questions as you comment. I'm excited. I've got a very interesting panel today. I'll start from the far end there. Mr. Tom NGULULU is Assistant Superintendent from the Zambia Police, which is the VSU unit, Victim Support Unit, the headquarters here in Lusaka. And then I have PHILLIP MPONDA. He is a marriage counselor. And I have CHRISTABEL member, a media personality. So all these characters coming through together to make sure that we have the different perspectives relative from where they're coming from to talk about the issue of the age at which to get married, which is the appropriate one. When you first heard this, what first came to your mind, CHRISTABEL?
Yo. I'm just, is there even an appropriate age for someone to get married?
Biggest question.
Yes, because I think, wow, it's firstly, you have to obviously be legal.
Yes.
To have to be given a way to get married. But then also, the question is, you can be 30 and foolish and not even understand what marriage is all about. Because a lot of us are physically ready for marriage. You're ready for the big wedding. You're ready for the dress. Who's coming, who's not. But are we mentally ready for what comes with marriage? What is marriage itself?
So the number can just be a number. The
yes.
physicalities can allow you, but are you mentally and mature enough to get married? What did you first come to your mind when you heard this?
Yeah, for me, it's a sweet topic, but too sensitive.
Sensitive in which manner?
If you talk of marriage, if you go for, maybe you go through the culture way, they will say, mwanakazi, once akakula, bampunzisa, akonka maramulo, the boy was not mainly an issue in marriage. In the culture, it was about a girl. How mature is this mwana witikwatirisha? There was that kind of norms which used to be according to our culture and values. But mukapindamula mukabwira pa chizungu chaine tilipo now.
Yes.
Age is no longer now an issue. Age is no longer an issue, my sister. We no longer respect
So
age.
it can be very low or very high.
This is what is happening. Momenti pita no mukaona mwana hapa pa mwana munzake, you even fail to ask wamai wakaena. Kutu mwana nazaka zingati, you just keep quiet. Because uzausha nankani ili gone. So marriage, in short, for one to go to marriage, the question is, how as my sister said, how ready are you in your mental status? How psychological are you? How sensitive are you in you? Are you accepting ujamwana waben as, and if you talk of age, for me, I still stick to 24 years. Because I look at 24, nishisku muntana series. Okay? 24 years nishimuntu, anankarako na maganiza josi and apart from yawana. I still stick to that, and I've constantly been here and I've said it. For me, 24 years is better. Bingankareko vipo, mwina kambira sister wanga. Even if it's 50 years, she's ankara behave mungali and I say 17 years. Those are there. But
so even if you reduce the maturity of someone who's 50,
it will not matter.
It will be somewhere there.
Yeah.
Does the legal realm accommodate this? What is looked at when an age is being set? Or maybe let's start with this one. What's the legal age? What does the law say about the legal age of marriage?
Yeah, first of all, when you called for this discussion, I said that this is very complicated, because Zambia, appreciates, the African customary marriages as well as the statutory marriages. So now, when you talk about traditional marriages, these African customary marriages, usually this type of marriage is dependent on the tribe where you are coming from. For example, if you come from Chipata, for example, there are certain traditions, certain things that they do to fulfill, to legalize that particular marriage, in an African way. Now, when you come to statutory provisions, I think the legal age is when you attain the age of 21 and above, then you can contract a marriage, without seeking, consent from anybody. That's what the law provides. So it's a very complicated topic, because when you go to, for example, when you go to certain tribes, when a child attains puberty, they will do those traditional beliefs, and they will take tumbale and stuff like that, and then the child gets married. And that it's law-free done, because they've fulfilled the requirements of that particular marriage. So for me, it's a very complicated topic.
You think, what's a big deal? Because society really does talk about this. It gets onto social media for a bit, then it dies down and it pops up again. Families, and this one saying, no, this is the appropriate age. If it's tribes, they're talking about tribes. If it's Bemba and somebody from Eastern Province, there'll be those clashes. Why do you think it's a big deal? In your marriage counseling sessions,
let's look at it in...
If the child wants to get married, the parents are saying no. If the son wants to get married, they're saying you have to get older. Why is it a big deal?
Some will say no, because they know it's a family in Yonongeka. That is number one. In our tradition and customary, your parents will know where you're marrying. As long as they're not happy, that marriage will not go on. That is customary. Where there is peace, you won't have confusion. But nowadays, vama miti sana first. Mwamuna hapa samimba mwana msikana. And then my parents mwankarapansi, chikwati chapangika. So we've got a different way of these issues coming up. But no one is addressing, okay, let's go to customary. At what age is, as he said it, as I know, mwana msikana akakola chechi sungu.
Nanga mamuna, what about the male as well?
Ndiye kulivuto ku traditional norms yatu, because they've mainly focused on mwana mkazi. Why? Kuli mambo watu kwa nchi chokera, ndiye mwamina sunga nyumba. Mwana mamuna wezo ache dokula. Mostly Pampara of yesterday, we used to sit, our grandparents will guide us. Ivi iya ibazukulu wanga, bato iya iwota, sunga inde Pampara ndi unuka moba. Bakulikita suza kabwezapo kubwera unuka moba. Because it was a serious teaching. Can we teach our children na mwankazi kapampara mamba to educate? No. Why? Vaviziba vonse. How can you educate mwana amenaziba? A simple thing, instead of sharing ideas, you start arguing. How do you make an understanding if one is arguing on an issue that does not require quarreling? So when at a moment, they know everything.
Regardless of their age.
They know everything.
Christy, you were talking about issues of maturity versus physical body and mental maturity. We have different characters with people. There's those that are mature, but they're young. Do we then now put which into perspective? Even if somebody is 16 years old, but they're mature enough to behave like a 25-year-old. Both male and female here.
You see, I think, like, I'll put it this way. There's a saying my mom always says is what an adult can see while it's standing, see that a child can't see while it's standing. And I'll start from here. Back then, when our grandparents, mothers were getting married, even as they were being raised, they were being brought up in a way to keep a home. Okay, they were being groomed to keep a home. So even as they grew, that's why you'll find back then marriages then actually lasted than marriages we have now. All right, and to get where you're saying, as much as a 16-year-old, yes, they'll be mature enough and act like a 25-year-old, and they would have the pros and cons. When it comes to marriage, it's a whole different ballgame, because maturity that consists of marriage and maturity of growing up and just being able maybe to decide whether we are cooking supper, we're cooking this for supper, are two different things. Because mentally, Judy, if I'm going to get married today, am I ready? Physically, we can all be ready, because everybody wants a big wedding. Everybody wants to show off, the dress I'm wearing. But mentally, are you ready? And enough, firstly, as a woman, to say when your husband loses his job tomorrow and for the next 2 years he has no job and you'd have to be the helper and help and provide, will you be a vuvuzela to tell everybody out there that my husband has no job? Wake up at 05 and sweep the house because you're not working. Are you mentally stable enough to actually hold him in, conserve his pride, and still give him hope that he'll get a job without announcing to the whole world that he doesn't provide? Can you be able to say, oh no, we're doing well, he's taking care of us, he's trying, even when he's not trying? Because that involves a lot of mental growth. You know, even for men, is a man ready enough to actually accept a woman in a certain direction?
For you, let's say, if it's female, which age would you say, if you had to put a number on it?
It's hard to put a number
for
on
the male?
It, honestly.
Okay, for the male?
For the male, I think you have to be really 30 and above.
30 and above?
Yes. Most likely in that direction.
For me,
for the female?
For me, I think for me it's 24.
24? Oh, yes, you did tell me 24.
Yeah, I think
male?
she's, a male, 24.
Even the male, 24?
Yeah, I think for me, 22, a lady, but me, I should be slightly older.
Okay.
Because once that swatch dokaramba. So if there is that, usually that gap was helping to bridge up, not winangaonika mkuru, winangaonika mwana pa nyumba paswa mtendere. But the age of a guy must always be older than wamino kwatira. Okay,
so the legal age you told us is 21.
Yes.
So this applies both to male and female?
Yes.
Okay.
It's in the books.
When this law is abrogated, you were saying there's customary and there's state.
Yes.
What sort of complications come in with the issue of age? Has there been situations where now you're saying, look, this legally, depending on the realm of state and customary, that you've had issues with?
When you marry below the age of majority, which has been put by the law, it means that marriage is void. Okay? But there's instances where parents need to consent for you to get married because you are underage. Okay? Also, there are instances where if there's an application before the High Court, for example, the judge would authorize a marriage for a girl who is under the legal age of marriage. And as such, that marriage is still valid.
It's legal.
Okay? It's legal. So in those instances, then there's no complication because the marriage has been validly contracted, because the law has authorized, But aside from the provisions of the law, for me, if you ask me, I think a woman is ready for marriage after 25 years. Yes, because then she's out of university, then she's able to contend the pressure that comes with marriage. There are a lot of things that happen in marriage. So I think. That's my position when it comes to which age group is supposed to get into marriage.
All right. You want to say something?
I want to say something from what my brother is from saying. Yeah, the other thing that we should also look at is if you look at currently or modernly, our children go to school at a very early age. Okay? Like my 4 guys, I think they finished at 17.
Yes, most of them are finishing.
They were done with the up to grade 12. You get the point? So at that point, one is done with that school. And then you probably you have an opportunity to take Mwana to college. You may add maybe 2 years or 3 years, 4 years, whatever. A child maybe by 21, the school is done. All the papers for the child are there. What else?
So for you, it's male, isn't it? For you, when you look
girls, I'm combining them.
You're combining them.
Yes.
So when you look at the males for you, as a parent, now we get you into the realm of you being a parent, would you allow them to go before 25? Before 24? Yours is 24.
I will fully. The rules in my house are very clear. I've told my kids, if you're ready for marriage, tell me, Daddy, doesn't feel kukula. These are the rules in real. Okay? You go out there ukamitisa mwana wanga. Or whatever, whether ni mgeri wa mita or ni mkazi wa mitisa panyumba panga palibe mtendere. You are telling me wakula. So what I'll do, I'll get man and say mwana wanga kazinkalide. Kai mwakula. Because the one who wants to stay in my house must wait. Then waka was not but this time kuluka nichita. Because see, The marriages of nowadays, Tankarama problems is because we have lazy kids. We have lazy parents who have no time to sit. Vana vanga mwakula pamanje, can you do A, B, C, D? Or can we sit and share? Most of us, we have no time kunkara pants na kucheza na vana. Vana vazikulira because of internet, technology. At the end of the day, we have little time to understand what challenges vana vatu wapitamu.
Talking about challenges, what sort of challenges are coming through when you get to see media stories, both Western, Zambian, but more especially bringing it closer to home in our country? What complications are surrounding issues of marriage and the age at which this happens? It can be older or younger.
I think most that I've come across when you're doing the news, you would even come ridiculous stories as in to why these people didn't wake out, and you'd find, no, it's because he was not sexually satisfying me, or she was being disrespectful, you know. These, and funny is, what we need to understand is these are things that can be sorted out within a home. But then it takes a lot of mental maturity to understand that sexual satisfaction can actually be looked at medically and can be worked on. You see, it's, does your husband drink a lot? Because the husband that drinks a lot, that happens quite often. Does he drink a lot? Do we need to see a doctor? What foods do we, you know, dieting and all that. But then automatically, it's, I want out. That's why I insist to say, a lot of us are ready for the physical aspect of marriage, but we're not ready for the mental, you know, the psychological that comes with it.
The VSU, you're getting a lot of cases coming through.
Right.
Victim support unit, there's issues of GBV, there's issues of, you know, disputes. And when we zero it into...
Even divorces, these guys.
Yes, all those.
Of them, yeah.
And just like today, there's a woman that was hit with a bottle because the husband saw her, he was coming from drinking, just like 2 hours ago in Tendere. He was coming from a drinking spree. She says she was coming from church and she was wearing a short dress, and he got upset that she was wearing a short dress, so he got a bottle and hit her.
Wow.
She's at Mutendere Clinic right now. And she's 18 years old.
How old is the husband?
They've refused to disclose. The mama said they can't disclose him because they want nothing to do with him
older.
right now.
And he's 18. So he's
you
a
know,
whole
and
lot.
she's 18 years old.
Do we have these sort of stories coming through, issues to do with age complications coming to play in these marriages when it comes to VSU unit?
Yeah, of course. That's why we have defilement cases, you know. A lot of people would want to marry, sometimes they would want to marry underage girls. When you talk underage girls, you're talking about a girl who is below the age of sexual consent, for example, age of 15. You hear this guy has, you know, married a girl, you know, below the age of 16, you know, where consent, you know, from that girl is immaterial because the girl is underage. So we have a number of defilement cases that have been reported as a result of these early marriages. We have got children who have been removed out of school, you know, by their parents because they want to marry that particular child to this particular guy, and then they will remove the child from school and marry the child off. We have all these complications we are handling as VSU, you know. So there are a lot of complications to do with marriage, and that's why we need to talk more on issues that bordering marriage, because marriage is not about the physical appearance. It's about you know, following what the law provides and, you know, being ready for that particular challenge. Marriage is a challenge, by the way. I know you have to enjoy marriage, but you cannot get into marriage when you're underage, because you cannot contend the pressure that comes.
Is there such a thing as overage? Mr. MPONDA, when the ages are like this from the norm in our country. But before you come in, this is Open Line. We are talking the appropriate age to get married, and we've got 3 guests with me coming from the legal end, from the media, as well as from the marriage counseling realm. So we want to understand what this is all about and the dynamics. Get to your phones with the number that is scrolling on your screens. Get talking with us. What if it's the opposite sometimes, you know, because it's also issues of age. If I was thinking the appropriate age to get married was 35, and then I meet somebody who's 26 and mature enough, does that also create complications? It's the appropriate age differences. Me, that's when my maturities have reached here. Him, he's mature enough.
You see, as you've said it, it's a simple thing, but how you handle it between the two of you matters most. Vasara vili benchito hiyo. If you know, ndine mukuru, na kwatira mwana msikana, ni mungono.
Now the opposite, ka?
No, I'm starting from there first. In my mind, I should know. Mawame nakwatira huyo, I'm the best teacher. So if I have bad manners on her, she will follow suit. Okay? But if I marry an elderly lady, age has nothing to do with, as long as someone qualifies per level age, apasala kukula kwa muntu, depends mind ya mwinu wake, okay, hapa ni kwatire. That's why you find this, we make so many mistakes tikali bana. Tisovera, mairona girlfriend uyu wamsiya, mazo na uja wamsiya, ukulimimba, ukulitari. You know, pa family, unankara keka puba. Ndiwa cheva kabachati, oh, pajazo, oh, so nchana mitisa. Do you know there are guys who have got this attitude? And do you know the challenge that we go through when counseling this? The girl will tell you, I love this guy. And you ask this girl, do you understand the word love? Can you explain it to me? Because for me, that's a basic. If a young lady is able to explain the initial L-O-V-E, what do these letters stand for? Because people say love. Vamachoka valira miswazi. Achoka muntu asiya katundu mnyumba gwira cheka budura kumancha. Uyo ulendo.
Mr. Thomas, it's a challenge on his own.
So, age, mama, is just as mwentikambira age. But ngati vantu vakula, mamuna tiche do kukula. Ukakwatira mkazi mama ngati ndiye ambira kukula mnyumba mungara mtendere msanga. Manje ngati imwe monse ndimwe vitokoto. Hey, nyumba mwaika pa muliro.
Okay, let's hear from Livingston. Albert, good afternoon. You're through to Open Line.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Talk to us.
Thank you. Fungu, mirueme.
Seti ripo tiana mama.
Dila tate.
Tata tiani kunganda.
Kunganda mirueme. Damiki la program yetu ino.
Ziko omo.
Kama teniflo kamba kwa dafuta edio ni I think ina nakambiri vuto iliku antitokera mkomboni. Our friends who are coming from Mayati vuto yobalipe maningi.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I think you know the thing is, he's still talking.
Is it
He's a bit faint.
He's a bit faint.
all right? Yeah, a bit faint though, but Tamvera Vamenem Funokamba, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Chris, you want to come in?
You know, I think like Mr. Poindele said, it's, you know, he mentioned something about we have lazy parents now. Which, if lack of better term, like he says, and you know, but it's either ways, it's parents that feel they don't want to be hardworking enough for their children. So we might as well marry them off and get that money, and it's for their benefit. It's not benefiting the child at any point, because you'd rather work hard and give that child at least a good education. It's on their own expense. But we parents are becoming so lazy because we feel, there's no money, we can't start a business, you are given this, we're drinking every day. 16, send her off.
It's two birds with one stone.
Yes.
One less mouth to feed.
Yes, and the money comes and that's it. And which shouldn't be the case.
Mr. Monda, have you ever been in a situation where this couple comes and you're seeing that, well, looking at the age, maturity, they're not ready, and you've had to put that across to them?
Yonkani ninakolewa nazo. I'm telling you, sister, kukolewa, so you're a counselor, so uchita counsel bantu wankara ukolewa. They are even able to argue on your presence. Yes. If it is hivi. Uyu ndiye amene sakondo vikonka uyu. You're in a counseling session. And say, but why are you finger pointing? Why can't we? So the challenge we mainly have at the moment, mama, the biggest problem that we have, love is no longer a factor in a marriage. So people are just trying their waters. Tingankale kuchikwati kucha. Angankale, iwe sunga siye mkazi kaili. Uniko na wana wabidi. So a guy will be forced to kunkara mchikwati because of those two kids. But
Livingston is on fire today. Let's get another caller from Livingston. Simaza, how are you?
Ulabapela imilandu. Tamuvako na mwabeni mwali kwa sabana, mwali kwa tomwa numwana kasi ya temwa mwaume. But uko awa mkwa ngala tamuvako iyo. Then, imilandu muleta mkutukenga being as a parent. Uyu mulandu nga kukonka. Bakapokola nefundere ya Zambia mwalipenga abana baume. It's me telling you.
Baba Fienga Shani, let us know. Baba Fienga Shani.
So Baba Fienga, Yo ababene bakapokola na mwabene mwebalelanda. Tamubako iyo abana bakula na uko bangalira. Namba uko bangalira bapelesanya mapumo. Mwasenda cyane abapyastu kubatanya imbovu. Noko bapele milandu.
Okay, to Atotela Mkwai, thank you so much. That's Mr. Simwanza from Livingston saying that.
Nasimbini Simayo.
Mkwai.
Abana banono. Kinonshiku bakwaya abana abahumya bakalamba. Iso bakwaya abana.
Bana kasha bumlelanda pafoya bakalamba.
To support them.
To support
them Mkwai. Na Atotela Mkwai.
All right, to Atotela Mkwai.
You see?
So he's gotten two aspects there.
Yeah, I'll pick up. As much as he's as a parent, ningafune kuzichita defend. But mama, chilungamo must always be with us as parents. Yesterday's Makoro had a time, no matter how hard life was, venzo tinkazika pants na kutipasa malango. That's why ise mukukula kwanga until death kwat sina mitisepo sina nkalepo na nkani ya relationship. That is what my grandmother insisted malango kukamba kuti no mwana wanga ukaenda ukwatira yes independent how izakafika vam. Can you tell vana wamanje? No, you can't. Why? Tripe now time.
So he
just a minute. You've not bought your girl, your daughter, phone. Mwana bwera pa nyumba, my sister, ana phone ya mtengo. Neither a father nor a mother can say, hii phone ya toka kuti. So what are we in short telling our children? Wangaende kunja, bachita vene vafuna, valeta katundu pa nyumba. We are not consent. Us as parents, that's what I'm trying to answer the caller.
Yes.
That's what I meant. Yeah. We have time kusakira vakudia na life ya vuta.
Because the ripple effect is what you tell them or what time you spend with them, isn't it?
Yes.
I know the VSU does more than just having to sort this out. In your sorting out and trying to get to the root cause of this, your counseling sessions, are they tackling some of these things?
Yes, definitely. We tackle a number of issues that to do with helping the children out there. Because you see, we have a responsibility to ensure that these children do not fall into bad habits. So, and now the parents have a huge responsibility because they stay with these children day in and day out. But you see, I think like my brother has stated here, as parents, I think we are departing away from what we ought to do. We leave everything to the maids that remain with the kids at home. Some of the parents don't even check what the children are doing at school. So we need to have time with the children and tell them, the bad things and the good things about life. Because you need to discuss with them about issues of, the dangers of, sexual relationship when we are still young. So these things must be discussed, between the parents and the children.
So parents do have to play a role as well. Let's get to hear from...
They have a huge role to play.
Let's hear from Mwamba from Luapula.
Yay.
Hello? Hello, Mwamba.
It's gone.
Okay, all right. Christy, I know the one that's coming up here most is issues of the younger you are, the more immature and problems are stemming up. But now with some influence from, it's a global village, you see some of the parts of the world want to wait until they are much, much older. You've done your school, you've done your career, you've had your fun, and they'll go on maybe 40, 50. That's when they get married. Is that a pattern you're seeing in Zambia as well?
I think you see the
Because
problem
social media, I get to see people saying, I think the conventional way of getting married is now being slid this side a bit.
we're headed that side quite a lot. But sadly also is the pressure society puts on a young woman to marry at a certain age when they're not mentally ready. For me, I keep insisting, marriage is not child's play. It's not get him, cook sausage, eat, go have intercourse and it ends. There's more to marriage than just that, Because at the end of the
What
day,
examples? Sausage.
all of them,
What's better than Hungarian,
So at the end of the day, Judy, it's we've put so much pressure on a female child to have to marry at 25, 24, you have to be married at 25, or from home hour, you have to get married at this age, you have to get married at this age, and they will do it because, oh, they said I have to marry at this age, or peer pressure from friends. My friends are all getting married.
So if someone says they want to get married at 40 because society has got some of these pressures that are coming through, it also adds to the challenges and the ripple effects that we're seeing in divorce cases.
For me personally, there's really nothing wrong if you feel you want to marry at 40.
MPONDA, a lady comes to you, she wants to get married at 40 because she wants to have the fun, the masobela you were talking about. She wants to have done with all that in her 40 years, and she wants to get married after 40.
My sister, please. Izinkani zinzole mazomuleta pano bina kutizakandamo. Nowadays things vinachinja. 40 years uli nkale pa nyoko, so uli nkale pa nyoko 40 years. Kani pa komboni ndiwe topic.
No, the person might even be independent, staying on their own.
But that's what I'm saying. You know, when a woman comes with too much independence, there's always that a man doesn't want her.
Listen, my sister.
We're coming to that as well.
Choose my friends.
Why?
You know, my sister. Look at my friends who tell you who I am. Mostly, yaveneti sokoneza life yatu. Panzako endopezeka nao.
It's true.
Mostly, iwe, nemzako na gone out mairo. Ndipo ananisunga. Nzo niyamuna munga nika baby. Iwo wankara ulipwene. Ananyamuna munga nika. No. That's what is bringing us problems. Competition out there, my sister. Unmarried are now busy competing with married ones. And nowadays, muzapeza na wale mvikwati wanachosa ma rings, dressing like unmarried. It's up to you to look at the.
MPONDA, are married?
Yes, I am.
Oh.
Yes, I am. Don't forget. Yeah. And there was anything contest. Ring it not I don't know any
Mr. Judyngulube, arrest him.
My sister, society has brought competition where ukankara nkungulume to fika a certain age you become irreferable. Even if unkara weka well vanished apartment. Mama wazamba kukamba wazipitira so hey wabwera napa nyumba so hapa ungena nakongena chinkungurume iwe panzako babala bana bainda kusukuru
is not ready.
This is what I'm saying. But do they understand what that nkungurume goes through? No, we don't. We judge that nkungurume, crucify that nkungurume.
So what do we do about that? We'll come to that after we speak to Zulu from Katete. Hello?
Hello.
Talk to us. How's Katete?
Katete is fantastic. I don't know about Lusaka.
It's very fine, thank you. Talk to us.
Thank you so much. In a approved journey chianga ya age nona 25 and above ili chabebwino. Koma vuto ikulu ya mene iliko manje ni yakuti vikwati vambiri vilaningiwa monga na tuma committee. Twakuti whatever committee kachita decide whether ni kuchikwati kuti maybe instead yoba chita cancel bantu babalekerera beka then bene bake kuja bakachita decide kuti chokako nishinaya za chokako. That is the problem with the immature marriages that we are having today. Because once they start taking these issues seriously, I'm telling you, even the rate of divorce itself, it will reduce, unlike the way it is currently. Most of the marriages, it's not because of maybe they married for proper reasons. Today they marry because of physical features or love, so they call it. But those days they never used to marry because of love. They used to marry because of the character of a person, including the ability of what that person will help out in terms of like the family. But today it's a different case. Because now to some of us we just understand that it's just a feeling of which it comes and goes. So in absence of love, how do those couples take care of themselves? In case Winango is down, how will that person who is not mature handle the person who is emotional, who is having maybe a breakdown? So those aspects I think they should be considering.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Zulu from Katete there. He's basically adding a comment to what we are saying. But from the problems that you've been seeing that come through to the VSU, to marry early or to marry late?
Or to marry in between.
Or to marry in between, as MPONDA says.
Yeah, but marrying early is not a solution, because when marrying early, you can marry at 14 as long as you've attained puberty, which is a problem. So you marry when you're of age, the right age, then you get married when you are ready for marriage. We should not, like Mr. Zulu has stated, you cannot marry because you want to please society. These are the issues where you see external influences to say, okay, now come out of that marriage. Because like the law provides, marriage should be voluntary. It's a voluntary union, between a man and a woman for life. Okay? Now, if you marry at 14, for example, when you reach 18, you begin to think that I married the wrong person. You start thinking otherwise. So people
Not
should
marrying. Yeah, see that.
So people should begin to think and see, know that marrying early at a very early age is not a good thing.
But
people need to marry at the right age.
all of you in your
And for right reasons.
specific and relative realms have got a responsibility to society.
Absolutely.
The legal end, a marriage counselor being the base and the foundation, media beaming out information that if you hear every day, it will help you make decisions, right? So starting from Christy, how are you helping society in not to condemn a 40-year-old man who wants to get married at 50 for the first time, or this 18-year-old who thinks, I am ready, I want by 25, kaput, no more kids, and I'm set?
It's by, at the end of the day, I think being a media person and interacted with different people.
Because you've all agreed that society does push a certain agenda,
Yes.
regardless, depending on what it is.
You need to, as much information we're going to give out to say the pros and cons of marrying early or marrying late and everything like that, it's also a responsibility of each and every individual to also have to figure out, why does this person feel at this age is when I'm going to be ready to get married, and respect that. Because we live in a society where, this I would say, because I've had to interact with different women, some women would be very successful. They have everything, you know what I mean? And you ask, you have it all, why aren't you getting married? But it's, there's no man that wants me. Why doesn't a man want you? What characters do you have? What
Insecurity.
are you? What's going on? No, it's this, family.
Who's insecure, the man or
The man who is proposing.
But
The man
hold
is
on,
proposing.
let's go all the way to Chillabomboy and talk to Memory. Memory, how are you? You're through to Open Line. Hello, Memory. Yes, Memory, you're through to Open Line.
I'm quite.
I'm quite.
Hello.
Hello, you're through Memory. Talk to us. Tule mumfwa.
Quite.
I'm quite. London knife.
I'm quite. Kwena fonde Falkland ko. Fonde Falkland ko. I think marriage taya kwata age.
Nish pantu.
Pantu tumwasango kweba tumuntu aupwa nangwa upa batala kula mano. So I think it's very important upon maturity. Ngefine ba sister wandi balelanda ngafira balanda tichupo ningama. Kwa riba umot mwa kwa mwa ufya adi sunge nganda bwino ngafira fine na Bible yalanda ti mwana kashichipuba ona ula inganda yako kumaboko yako. No mwana kashuwa mano akule inganda maboko yako.
Out to Atasha Memory. Thank you so much.
I think it's all about maturity.
All right. Thank you. All right. So that was a comment from Memory. Memory is basically adding to our discussion, but she has a different view to say it's all about maturity. It doesn't matter what age, as long as the person is mature enough. Before you finish your comment.
Yeah, for me, my sister, the age, whatever we can go around, whatever we can say, among the two, I am Bilira Kukula Munzero should keep the marriage. No competition. Ngati mwamuna ucha unampezera mba, akali kufuna kwenda kuba, don't fight. Musiya zenda ukakorewa kwa nene kucha. Don't argue. Ndiko mnapezana. You don't expect uja mtu kuchinja. So the bigger problem tili nayo mvikwati of late is they hide so many things bantu mvikwati. fumenda kuchoka kwa wanzao and wanzao ndiye bad influencers amba nao wauza boy iwe wamuna bana nemni wamuna tikuli wamuna kwa nti maenda ife innocent one mama apezekali musanga. Why? Because of the advice
that is getting from other people.
Yes.
But Mr. Ngululu, when you get to hear comments like what Memory said, so will you throw them under the customary, or you now have to get them and say, well, even if your daughter is 14, even if your son is 16 years old, he won't marry that 14-year-old girl. What do you do in such situations?
Yeah, maybe I didn't hear your question. Say it again. What is your question?
So, Memory is saying it doesn't matter the age.
No, I've heard that comment. That comment.
So when this situation is presented to you, will it fall under customary, or there'll be legal implications to it?
Well, it can fall both. You can be 40 and decide to marry under customary law. It's up to you. Zambia, you know, Zambia appreciates a dual legal system. Customary, you know, African customary marriages and statutory marriage.
Okay.
So when you are 40 and you want to get married, you can go it either way. Because you are at liberty to choose which type of marriage you want to, you know,
Okay, let's allow Chrissy to finish her comment, because we were on the conversation of how you're helping society in your different capacities to not have that, you know, liberty or freedom to push an individual, whether they want to get married at which age.
Like I was saying, I think when you have even independent women in different sectors, they'll tell you, no, I have everything, but they're not getting married. And he did state to say, it's insecurities on the man's end, because no matter how much wealth a woman will have, and she knows the fact that you are mature enough to understand that no matter how much money you have, a man is still the head of the house. You make 10 million, he makes 5, he's still the head, and you respect, because that's the head. There's no way in the Bible where it says the woman is the head of a home.
So the thin line between a woman who's driving a Benz wants to start going around in a Corolla, even though she can afford the Benz, just to make sure that
don't change yourself for the person that you want to be with. Be you, because a bold man, a good man, believe me, a strong man, a bold man will not be bothered by the materialistic things that person come with. He will still be there. He's still a man. But then our job also as the media people is to make parents in society also understand that let children be children.
Is society changing?
It is changing, because the worst part is we're changing with the norm of technology now. We feel like society has to move with technology. So contraction marriages are going to be happening anytime soon.
The pressure they are putting on individuals for marriage is different now.
It's different now, and it's too much now, because then
it's increased
because every day there are weddings on social media. So you want to surpass that wedding you're seeing on Facebook. Mine should be better than that. But that is not even the issue.
So what are you doing as a media personnel to make sure that you're changing this narrative, or maybe you're encouraging it? I don't know.
No, I think it's very difficult to change a mentor that's already been placed in a certain way. But the little you can try is really advocate for it the right way and let people understand. Read more. Zambia has a very bad reading culture, but it's important to learn to read. Read about it, ask questions, understand. You know, and we are trying, as much as we are trying as the media, it's also not only up to us, it's also about parents and guardians that are raising these people. You know, don't put pressure on. I'll give an example. I have a cousin, he's 37, he's not married. And there was that pressure from his mom. He needs to marry, Mom even at some point said, I said, look, you're not going to force him because he's got a good job. But he even keeps saying, he says, I'm not mentally ready because I think I've seen quite a lot and I want to understand what I'm going to get myself into. I want to be ready to be someone's husband. I'm not looking for a wife. I want to be a husband
to that person.
Oh,
he's a sweet one, that one.
And he told his mom,
before you come, Mr. MPONDA, let's get to Kawambwa. Darren. Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon. Go ahead, talk to us.
Yes, madam, I just want to add on this one.
Please go ahead.
Age also matters, yes. Age also matters, because without age matters, and the maturity. Yes, because you cannot understand each one. You cannot keep the marriage. So, koma mwakula, then mwabami chitakanso, ero mwongekara muri marriage.
Imwakula ni age nshiba Darren?
age ikwaika umafira kulapo then umwana kachafire abako below.
Approximately what age are we talking about?
Umwana kachafire se abanangu age 20, then the man 24 or 25.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
So another contribution there.
Yeah.
But Ms. MPONDA, what are you doing as a marriage counselor to make society know and understand that the pressure that they are putting also has ripple effect in different ways?
Okay, before I come to
Because it can be pressure for a 14-year-old who wants to get married. It can be pressure for a 37-year-old guy who wants to get married. What role are you playing?
Okay, let me mix them. Let me go back earlier to the issue of a well-to-do lady failing to, Mama.
Purposely reducing.
If you look at, if one is educated, mentored nicely, she will leave her wealth in her bedroom. Maybe she leaves home. Should never picture herself as a wealthy lady. Bamuna stifuna. Umbena mami. Bamuna stifuna. Because it's a demand tachama bwera originally tabe tupieka. Bandarama. Mzankala kaboyu. That is number one. And then tubwera tuibetu maganizo. So a lady who has money, the principle of counseling is keep your money in your house. Ukachoka payati pako wachoka panje. You are a normal person. Now you'd find kavalidwe keka nikakoti because I've got indalama. Azamu imika nindani panjira. Wampeza pa filling station ana motoka hiyo yakuta aika.
Moto muntaka ngiwogula motoka mena kunogula.
We are facing realities here, Mama. The challenge is it's us. We are cowards. We fear to face the truth. To say, Mommy, I love you. You can't. So there is that kind of a disparity that we feel inferiority in ourselves to say, EV, nivave nivandarama. Lekani ngasanke munzanga wosauka. I'm telling you the truth.
MPONDA news and what you're doing as a marriage counselor.
The problem that we have right now, Mama, want to swim there. No matter how you talk, I'm breaking. Wherever you find in market, me, I'm open. And people approach me like no man's business. In my Peter, so. Kaja kogwira ma break banata yambu yamkam. So the challenge we have is no matter how we talk, Bantu, are they willing to change only their individual? Because the way you are CC, change must be done by you. Ukaenda panje, it doesn't matter. Change must be done by me. That's why my couples are failing to develop mnyumba, because there is no hope of saying, Mkazwanga, sorry. I mean, nachita vija. Mami, I think ujanopoa. Mami, sorry. Wankara na panyumba, not mamuna panyumba, mama, ukaenda kunchitobwira ni 02. Uja mundari muja, simutengo. Ni muntu. One, against the security ya uli kunja. What is he doing? Is he having wakazi benango? Is he, so, kumankara muntu ulibe, you are not thinking about ganza vopoba, but vambache kubwirira mumu, and mistaking in watumina munzako na yoso konezeka. So where we are, Mama, it is our individual abilities to understand. That's why I said earlier, mwana wanga ine, akafuna kubwela kuchikwati, mafunso yanga ni yangati?
Ya bili.
Mwakula mami, dadi nakula. Mwapeza bamuna, my sister, mvana wanga, indani nkani za chikwati. Iyo nkani sakabwerere futu mnyumba mwanga. Why are we doing this, my sister? We are no longer in that era where things were the way they were. We are in a modernized society where people can crucify you, can judge you and convict you even when you know nothing about it.
So, but the legal side, how are you approaching society to make sure that they are, engaging at the levels that, he's talked about, she's talked about? Is society that tough that it will not change, or it won't change, or it will continue to put pressure when society is made out of individuals? Yeah. Such as those that are supposed to be very, accepting and say, all right, this is what's happening.
We cannot blame society entirely. Some people have changed and they've listened. Some people have gone to read the law and see what the law provides. And they've been able to change because they realize, okay, so what I'm doing is outside the law. So let me follow the right way, the right way, so that I'm not on the other side of the law. Some people, of course, they've been taught, they've listened and they've heard, but they've decided to ignore. and decided to take the bad side. It's just like in church. You will go to church, the preacher man will give you the message, the good news message. Then it's up to you to take it or leave it. Okay? The law is not a secret. It's there for everybody to see. That's why ignorance of law shall never be a defense. Because the law is not a secret. When the law is enacted, when the law is made, everybody is there to see what the law provides. Now, so society has been taught from different for us. Society has been, informed, but it's up to them to make a decision, as to which way they want to take this issue. Okay? But going forward, I think I encourage society to take the right way, to use the law to their advantage. For example, if you marry girls at 14 years, you're a parent, you're a father, you say, okay, because my child has attained puberty, so it's okay, she can go in marriage because she's able to give birth. Are you doing a good thing to
health complications as well come into play as well?
All these things, So as a parent, you realize, I think, if you've listened, you realize, I think this is not a good way to
Mr. MPONDA will say 14-year-olds have been giving birth from time immemorial, right?
Yeah, in those days.
But?
Okay, by then, sinazibe kuti kulina malamulo echizungu. Tenzo ganza jaboti tikakula pene paja tikachita graduate kumphala kucha. Malango kusamba mwasiya na baja bang'ono mwabasiya mwamba usamba chena age yanu. Tinakula na malamulo abwino. Certain age semungasovere na bana. But look at nowadays, tina bathroom manyumba. To the extent when mwana ita ubwera ubunka do. Na imwe mami mzivala kwa kudo. Okay? So, in that home, what values are there that you can help them to teach? It's difficult. Look at the dressing nowadays, my sister. We are judging women based on their dressing. Even innocent ones. Okay? Dressing are indifferent in Munjira. But look at, I wish you had done a study on what goes in our mind. Tikankara suamuna wakapita waja ovala. Wenangutima tukwana maganizo so matusi. But it's vambera. So why is this dressing becoming an issue kwa muna? Because to us we're insecure. Why angavale so? Manokoti wauja. Mamuna wanzira ngamu angaleke mkaza avala so. Meanwhile, in my house there's freedom. My wife can dress the way she wants. But as long as she respects my body. But will someone look at mkazi wanga and say, available? So
the difference is in opinion, isn't it?
This is how we are able to intoxicate the society. We are no longer giving them chance kuti timvele. We judge them based on mavalid. Avala kamini, aita kudonsa mkazi aenda. Isatitukwa. Nama motoka, observe. Motoka gwesa na window so. Ungalinyi wagwesa window upweneka so malenda pona na kukama so.
We have less than 2 minutes to go. Takeaway points. Hashtag what? This topic we've been talking about today.
I think all in all, it's very important that we should not be influenced by what society will throw at you or what you see out there. I think you need to be mentally ready, mentally mature. Sometimes you might not even be physically perfect for each other, but mentally you're good. Take advantage of that. I might be chubby and marry the most smallest man, but that's not because the physicality aspect for me is not so much, but it's how we connect mentally. And how mature enough. And I think as parents we need to also differentiate the type of maturity that's ready for marriage. There's maturity grown enough to be able to take care of, help your mom here, there, but there's also maturity. Are you mature enough to take care of a home, and hold in what the home has? So let's not really be influenced by what society.
Are you mature enough for coexistence? For
coexistence, exactly.
The challenge we're talking about. Your takeaway points.
I think for me, I want to urge society to desist from marrying off young girls, Well,
all right.
Ultimately, we want these girls, we want to see these girls be like you. We want to see these girls be like you. We want to see young boys.
One word, MPONDA, then we go. One word.
For me.
One word, MPONDA. He won't say one word. For me. Thank you so much. This has been Open Line. We've been talking the appropriate age to get married. Get us next Tuesday again for another social topic. My name is JUDYNGULUBE on behalf of the entire production crew. I won't let you because you want to. Next week, Mzakam.